All right, I'm calling the governing board meeting of Pinal County Community College District to order, and welcome everyone, and Happy New Year. For those of you we haven't said that yet, I think it's okay. And for the first item, Dr. Odiorn, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Thank you so much. And before we move to adopt the agenda, I have been informed that item 6D, which is the budget revision for 2022-23, is not in our consent agenda. So we would like to remove that before I accept a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. So just know item 6D is now removed. All right, is there a motion to adopt the agenda with that?
So made.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Walker and seconded by Ms. Smith. All those in favor, or any discussion? Seeing none, all right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, thank you so much. Call to the public. Angela, anything up there? No, and good to see you in the corner. All right, we are at item 5, is the election of officers for the new cycle for the governing board. So are there any nominations for board president for 2023?
I nominate Evelyn Kasuga for president.
I'll second.
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I guess we'll go to a motion. All those in favor of, I'm a little stunned, sorry. All those in favor of electing Evelyn Kasuga as board president for this upcoming year, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion carries. Second item, nominations and election of board secretary / vice president.
I nominate David Odiorn.
All right, Dr. Odiorn has been nominated as board secretary and vice president. Any other nominations?
Can I self-nominate?
Yes, you can. All right.
My nomination was not seconded, Ellen.
Oh, pardon?
I didn't hear a second on my
Oh,
nomination.
you didn't hear a second on, do we need a second on nominations? Oh, okay.
I'll
So,
second then.
okay,
I
you're
thought we were
second.
waiting for this.
Sorry. So, oh, yes. So, Mrs. Smith is seconding Gladys's nomination of Dr. Odiorn.
Yes.
Is there a second on Mr. Walker's nomination, self-nomination? All right, hearing none, we have a motion and a second to nominate and to elect Dr. Odiorn as board secretary and vice president. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
All right, motion carries. Or do we need Mary Lou, do you need a voice vote? Okay. All right. The third item, nominations and election of Arizona Association of Community College Trustees Representative. Are there any nominations for this role?
Do that again, David. I nominate David Odiorn.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to nominate Dr. Odiorn for the Arizona Association of Community College Trustees Representative. Any other nominations? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Okay, the motion carries. All right, welcome new elected board officers for the Pinal County Community College District. Congratulations, and thank you all for your confidence as well. All right, we are moving on to the consideration of the consent agenda, and as you know, we have removed item 6D. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda as revised?
So move.
All right, Dr. Odiorn, Is there a second?
Second.
All right, I think that was Mrs. Christensen. And any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. All right, we've got a number of information items. First of all, report from the college president, district update. Dr. Elliott, lots of things going on in Pinal County.
Good afternoon, Governing Board, President, members, faculty, staff, and guests. First, I'd like to ask if you're in the Leadership Academy, stand and be recognized, because that is one of the things that they have to do. So Gail Nettles, Michelle Young, and Andy Long are here as part of their assignment, their
Yes,
homework.
welcome, glad to have you here.
And the second item I wanted to share again is the foundation's annual fundraiser is February 10th at Windmill Winery. I believe I've sent the pertinent information to you as board members. It's a very good event if you're able to attend. Enrollment for the spring semester is trending about the same as spring 2022 at about 4,000 head count learners, which is up from 2021, which we were about 3,800 learners in that during that time. And then I put a flyer there for you about the Community College Day at the Capitol. It's January 24th from 10 to 2 p.m. We will be showcasing our education division this year. And then I'd also like to introduce Gabby, our new Chief Human Resources Officer is here with us, and we're very happy to have her on board as well.
Welcome, Gabby.
And as you mentioned, I spend a lot of time meeting with potential employers, and we'll be meeting with Procter & Gamble next week, and that continues to grow Pinal County when we recruit new business and industry. So that keeps me very busy, and I'm happy to answer any. And we're going to do a report here at the end on the Workforce Training Center at the Superstition Mountain campus later. So I'm sure if you have questions about that, you can ask at that time as well.
Okay, any questions for Dr. Elliott? We'll be hearing more. All right, very good. Mr. Wadka, Business Affairs Report.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, governing board members, Madam President, Madam Secretary, and colleagues and guests. 2 items. Monthly budget report is through November 2022, which shows our district's operating fund expenditures are slightly below the previous year. So our operating expenditures are at 36.95% of the total budget. A year ago, November 21, they were at 39.28%. So we're pretty much going in line on of our expenditures in our new current fiscal year. The second item is the awarded bids over 20,000. There are 19 for your information, 2 of which I would like to point out, however. This is the first of a few that you will see on the first page towards the bottom. You will see 2 for the SMC construction project. The first one is to contract for both the programming and the budgeting costs at SMC, which is approximately $183,000 at this point. And the second one is to contract for the pre-construction costs at SMC. And that is at approximately a little over $4.4 million. These are both to McCarthy Construction. They are the construction company for our SMC project, and they are now working hot and heavy in the schematic design. We're about 50% complete with that, and you'll see more information forthcoming. But these are the first expenditures that will be allocated towards McCarthy in this project. Any questions on either of the 2 reports?
I think you're done.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wadka. All right, we are now at the Workforce Training Center report. Dr. Elliott.
And Chris is going to join me as well. So As I've shared before, the Workforce Training Center to emulate Drive 48 at the SMC campus is moving along nicely. This was, so I'm going to kind of share with you a little bit of the timeline of what occurred with us and where we're at. So I met with Pinal County in November of 2021. They were obviously recruiting a project to the county. That project and Pinal County officials toured the SMC campus. At that time, it was Project Alpha, and they toured the campus. And then the project announced in April of 2022 that they had chosen Pinal County, and it was LG was the Project Alpha, now LG. So that's kind of the timeline of how this has happened. And I think that's kind of important because these things move sometimes quickly, and then sometimes they get stalled out and move a little bit slower. So in May, we started the weekly meetings with LG, Pinal County, and the college. And then in July, we decided it was best if maybe DSI, Systems Incorporated, who also worked on Drive 48 with us, Pete Pewgate, go ahead and play the intermediary between LG and Pinal County, because one of our goals was to ensure that when LG is no longer using the facility meets the college's needs and future needs. And those things were kind of incongruous at times in what LG was wanting. So, so we kind of backed out. ACA has also been part of the meeting. ACA will fund the project. The money actually is coming from Pinal County to the ACA, but ACA will be in charge of the procurement. And it seemed to work really well with Drive 48 because the ACA has a little bit more flexibility than we do as an institution. And in December, we kind of were in the final stages of planning with the training center. So the scope of work, it's going to probably be 13,000 to 15,000 square feet. Drive 48's around 13,000 as well. It keeps getting smaller because of construction costs continue to grow. We're hoping to time the construction of this with the other two buildings at SMC that were presented a few months ago. LG will have exclusive use for 5 years, again, designed like the Lucid project. After 5 years, we can determine the use. It's entirely up to us. The IGA was in your packet, so you were able to see some of the details. And then ACA equipment that would be purchased is property of the college, much like we did with Drive 48. All of the tables and cabinets and equipment in there are ours. And it is my understanding, and Chris can maybe jump in, LG doesn't plan to install anything in this center like Lucid installed the two FANUC robots that are going to stay, hopefully. So that's kind of what we're looking at. The location, if you know your orientation with the map, would be in this little piece of property. These, we have a pointer here. Maybe Chris can explain it better than me. I don't know my directions very well. We don't have a pointer, but you can see where the 4 buildings are that we will be tearing down that are clustered there, and then the training center will be located on the other side of the road. Right off of Idaho. And then this is kind of the layout that we're working with. As far as it won't look exactly like Drive 48, that was more of a box, and then we had the dojo rooms. This is a different type of needs. They are going to do a lot of training with virtual reality, and so the little squiggly lines in those rooms are movable walls, much like this, so that we will have more flexibility as we move along. So, anything you want to add, Chris?
Yeah, just that for synergy purposes, we are anticipating that the contractor and the architect will be the same contractor and architect that are working on the SMC campus. So the construction that we are having for our campus will also be ongoing for this training center. And then one last thing I think we should mention is that Pinal County will be paying us operating costs every year for 5 years once the center is built. If you recall, when we built the Lucid Center, the city of Casa Grande is paying us yearly operating costs. For this center, it'll be Pinal County paying us operating costs for the first 5 years.
It's kind of interesting because I put together a lessons learned document from Drive 48, and now to actually get to go back and deploy the lessons learned in a frequently asked, or an FAQ document that I actually prepared for my presidential colleagues, because I don't know if you recall, the Arizona Commerce Authority announced that they were going to build 6 more workforce training centers throughout the state. And so I created that document. It's kind of helpful to have now to go back and say, okay, this was a lesson learned, let's not do that. The other thing is that these 2 projects have been interesting for us as a college. Number one, I don't think we've ever had to invoice the city of Casa Grande before, or invoice Pinal County. So those are things that we had to implement as well. And then when we had our audit this year, you know, forget when you get free stuff, the auditors kind of need to know that and and have to count on that. So there are some things that we learned along the way with Drive 48 that are helping us hopefully with this project moving forward as well. We are hoping that the timing is on point with when we start doing our 2 buildings. And then again, to have that synergy with the same contractor, and this would be a design build. So, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions for Dr. Elliott or Mr. Wadka? Yes, Dr. Odiarn.
When do you anticipate going operational? Roughly.
If we get started by June or so, which we're still negotiating with the South Koreans, it could be operational by July 1st of the following year.
Yeah, LG wanted it a lot sooner, but we may have to be creative with them like we were with Lucid in use of different space for their training. If you recall, the corporate center, COVID timing, everything's about timing. COVID timing, that we weren't using the corporate center as much, so we let Lucid begin a lot of their training in that building. And we have potentially space at SMC as well to provide that kind of training. But if they had their way, they wanted to be operational yesterday.
Oh, wow. That's interesting, because I have a question, because I know they had made an announcement after they made their announcement they were going to come here, that they were delaying it, and I don't know what the status is and how that fits in with our timeline.
The county plans to go ahead and build the training center for us.
Okay.
If you notice that they have a development agreement with LG that reads very different than the IGA. So our IGA is between Pinal County, ACA, and the college. So if LG, it's designed intentionally that way, so if LG decides they're not coming, we still get the training center.
Okay. Good. So, and then it becomes an asset for Pinal County and the college, regardless of the company.
Regardless.
Yeah.
And they have had some fits and starts. They're re-engaged,
Right.
is my understanding. And so we hope to have a final design ready to go forward and pull the trigger when that's approved.
Okay. Well, that's interesting. You were talking about Pinal County is now the kind of intermediary because it's located in the city of Apache Junction, and the LG plant, as I understand it, is in the town of Queen Creek. So those 2 entities don't have to do anything. The county decided to be that.
Yeah,
We
no,
get
it's entirely a county project.
Okay.
Just like
Just
the,
curious.
you know, Casa Grande, we're not in Casa Grande
No,
city
exactly.
limits. And they built the Drive 48, you know.
It's all
Actually,
different.
ACA did, but then Casa Grande was involved in paying us the operational cost. Because initially they wanted it was going to be located somewhere within the city limits.
Right. I remember.
And we negotiated that out here.
Any other questions? And great that you did the lessons learned, because for sure, all of the other community college districts that are going to be getting one of these, you have 2 different kinds of models that you now have, are pulling up out of the ground, so
Well,
I'm sure it'll be helpful.
Well, it was kind of probably unique that even Drive 48, when I talked to colleagues across the nation, nobody's
done
had a
this.
building built for them by their state economic development office. So, you know, if it becomes a growing trend, hopefully we'll be able to be of some assistance to others as well.
Why not build all the rest of them on our campuses?
Yes, indeed. Indeed. We have the
You know,
space.
and there isn't saying that we wouldn't get another one, because
Sure.
again, ACA is funding these 6.
Right.
This is being funded by Pinal County through ACA as the pass-through. So it's not ACA money, so we could still be selected, and we put in all the information that they asked for. We could still be selected for another training center.
Okay, all right, good to know. This is very exciting for us here in Pinal County. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for that update. All right, item 10. Call to the board. Any board members have an item to discuss?
Well, my item is, I guess, pretty well known. This is my final meeting. This college has been my passion for 40 years, and I'm going to miss all of you, but I'm worn out. You know, it happens. And leaving in very good hands, because fortunately, we have people whose passion also is CAC, and they work here. And that makes it even more special whenever it can be your job and your passion. And that's why CAC is the premier college in the nation. And since we're the only nation that has community colleges, then kind of the best in the world. And I thank you very much for everything, all of you. And board, stay good.
So Gladys, on behalf of Central Arizona College, the governing board, as well as I'll go ahead and speak for everyone else in this room and all that Dr. Elliott covers, thank you so much. There is no way that any of us could match your passion and your dedication to this institution for 40 years. And so we are so grateful for everything that you've given to us. And it lives in all of us, what you have left the college. And so you are always with us, whether you're sitting in this chair or not. And so given that, we have a couple of small things that are just a token of our appreciation. So this is the Making the Difference, Gladys Christensen, for giving CAC your time, 1983 to 2023, and it happens to be a clock. And so giving your time, there's that, and then a dozen roses. So
How beautiful.
applause, yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much. It's going to be hard to believe. So any other comments regarding whether it's Gladys or just thank you so much. Couldn't say enough. Couldn't say enough. All right, any other items on the agenda? Seeing none, the next item says adjourn. Our next meeting will be February 14th, Valentine's Day. Okay, Mary Lou, whatever that means. Santan campus, so we will not be here. We will be at Santan campus in Dr. Odiorn's backyard. All right. With that, meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Oh, and we are going to move to a reception for Gladys next door, and hope that all of you can join us, and I guess others can join us as well. So we'll celebrate you. All right, thank you. No, stop.